better 20 and 19, but a 20 and 19 performance as well for Boaster. That was a close loss 13-10 on Bind. But interesting to see Chiwawa struggle after he was really lights out, at least in that first map, especially given that it was on Haven that he did really well, and then on Haven he struggled here against Team Draken. And now we go back to Haven yet again. We'll see if Chiwawa matches the performance from the initial game, or if it's going to be something else coming in altogether.
Starting us off already, it's CREA and Co. pushing in towards B. Team Zerator have to be feeling the pressure. You know, a lot of repercussions here for them if they do not come out on top here in the map ahead. The best of 3 maps ahead. And an early pick from Team Mixwell opens up the round ever so slightly for them. They're going to be looking towards A. They're going to start their funnel through. The Paranoia puts Zerator in a difficult position, but the Cyber Cage will at least keep him alive. But for how long as CREA takes him down? Now they'll get that spike down. Zerator now, the team, they have to retake the site.
And CREA just went right into the Cyber Cage and shot him in the back of the head. There's going to be Jibs, at least, taking down the Omen. It looks like we have a swap here in character roles, as we do have Rhyme now switching over from the Omen to the Reyna. We talked about that coming in, more of a hardlock Reyna, traditionally speaking. Rhyme peeks under hell. There's no one present. Jib's going to jump out, and it's now down to 1. It's davidp who manages to backstab the whole squad. No one saw it coming. davidp, the snake in the tall grass, as Team Mixwell steals away what should have been a pissed around victory for Zerator.
You hate to see it. If you're a Zerator fan, you're sitting there scratching your head. What went wrong? Well, davidp is what went wrong. 3 kills for him to start off the half here, and already a Vandal and some heavy armor in tow. We gotta imagine that he's got some utility. Yes, he does. No barrier orb, but a slow orb will at least give him something to work with. And for the side of Team Zerator, gonna play a little bit more aggressively, considering they don't really have a whole lot to lose, especially with the weaponry that they have in tow. A very interesting gun skin from Mixwell there. And now they're setting up here towards C. Zerator kind of knows something's up. There's 3 on the other side, and they'll start that push in. A spray down from davidp won't connect with anyone. Now they'll back away.
CREA pinging his team, letting him know there's players in these positions, trying to long-range shot with the Ghost, doing great damage, but no finishing blows. It's actually Fitinho who shows up and delivers some of that support. The slow orb is down, trying to keep them at least further away from the site. But Mixwell, already on A, is going to be calling things out to the team. There is a cam there for Cypher, spotting things out. Mixwell hears it, but they don't know that he's here. Mixwell has managed to sneak all the way through and actually get up into heaven, too, which is huge. Mixwell will clear out the entire site, let them know nothing is here. They've got full site control, and the Cypher has no idea this player is here. And as a result, the Sage going to get caught off guard by a blindside shot now.
Yeah, still... That spike, of course, will go down, and Team Zerator trying to find their way back over towards A. It's 3 members strong, but for how long is the question. The race player trying to play through. Finds himself on the other side of some return fire from Mixwell, playing for some distance as well from the shorty. Lands him that kill, and now 2 members left. It's Boaster and the Cypher playing on the opposite side, trying to work his way through Banana or Sewers potentially. Not really sure they're going to come out here on top, as Mixwell already takes down Boaster, and it's all up to one last final member, Zerator. He gets pinned down by fitinho and CREA. Now 2 quick rounds here from Mixwell. Moving on to the first full buy for Team Zerator. We'll see if they're able to keep things a little bit more competitive against this Mixwell roster.
Again, so many things in the balance right now in the shuffle, depending on the outcome of this series. Team Zerator started out so good against Team Arch, and a big part of that was Boaster and Chiwawa. Chiwawa has since cooled off in the remaining maps and series they've played, but Boaster has stayed strong in that op role. We'll see if that's going to continue here on Haven. As you can see, the op over on the C site in the hands of Boaster as the Jet. An initial shot was taken, and then Boaster, I believe, just had to get out of position as shots were heading back in that direction. Rhyme playing aggro in mid now has to retreat to the cubby and might get stuck in this position as well. Spending a little bit too much time here, goes for the Leer for the retreat, and will manage to escape back into the B site. No dart delivered there from the Owl drone that comes through. davidp trades positions with Chiwawa inside the dark cover, but it's Chiwawa who takes the Sage duel in favor of Team Zerator.
now going to be trying to make his way up onto the box. CREA realizes that smoke did not make its way up onto Fitinho with the cross. Going to take one. Chiwawa there to answer back. Chiwawa with 3 on the round. Down to 2 here for Team Mixwell. Still going to try to push in towards this B site, but it is Team Zerator that defend it with honor. And now giving them a round back on the board. A round we expect them to win, and now Team Mixwell, they will struggle ever so slightly for the economy that they're going to try to put the weapons together as best as possible. It's likely not going to be the most optimal buy for them, but nevertheless, they will have some assault rifles and even an operator in play on Mixwell. Let's see if that's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, or if Team Zerator will be able to defend yet another round against this team.
Mixwell, I like the move, the tail end to get into position. Nice shot on a Chiwawa, and there it is. Mixwell and his team do what they've done all tournament long. Early advantages gobbled up. The cam is going to spot 2 players over on long. There is a cyber cage down from Zerator, but as soon as Zerator tries to make any action, it just completely falls apart. Yet again, we see Mixwell stomp over the opposition, making it look easy as Boaster is left alone in a 1-on-5.
He's got the operator in play, but unfortunately a mountain to climb, and he doesn't have a Sherpa to lead him the way to victory. Likely going to be another round here for Team Mixwell. The spike goes down, and that's all that Boaster needs to know. At this point, looking probably for exit frags. You know, for Team Zerator, we saw them have a standout performance in the first best of 3 of the day, which was really only 2 maps. So far, not a really good look to this first half, but we're still with plenty of rounds left to go. Team Zerator can definitely turn things back around, but Mixwell, I feel like they're very, very confident coming into this map.
Boaster somehow has managed to hold on to this operator in spawn, just keeping their eyes on both sides of a likely push. And there you go. That's the first kill, so that's the indication of location, and Mixwell quickly triangulates where he's going to be hiding, gets the scope ready, and delivers. So no being brought into the next round, no save coming in for Team Zerator, who loses another one early on here to Team Mixwell. Again, it is early, so there's still opportunity for Zerator to get into the game, but it's the way the rounds are being won that is concerning. It's the way that Mixwell's team is easily just bulldozing their competition. You see Mixwell currently 5-2 with the operator, and that could potentially be a trend if Boaster isn't able to get the best of him in some of these duels.
Yeah, but Boaster, without the op, lands a Vandal headshot onto Mixwell, sends a message, and his regards as well, to the op that is now down. Likely picked up from another member, probably the Cypher player picking that one up. Now that'll open up the round ever so slightly. They don't have their confident player in Mixwell. Rhyme as well taking down CREA, and things are looking already better than rounds previous. davidp on the long con, lurking play, makes his way up into heaven. Going to find himself a Cypher on the opposite side who's looking in a camera. Baby, show me the money. Come on, do it. Just backstab. Just give, yes. Take out the knife. Right click, left click, whatever your poison. Bang! Takes him down. Zerator left wondering how on earth did that happen, and davidp with the second frag. That might open up the round.
davidp has now found 3. The slice to the spine was what started it all. davidp has now found 4. He wants the ace, and you know it. He's been close several times, but it looks like it might just get stolen away. Nope, there's the spot. They know that Rhyme is coming in. The shock dart's going down. davidp even tries to wall his teammate off to prevent the ace from being stolen. It's not going to happen. Rhyme able to use Reyna to beat him out in that one-on-one. It's now a 1-on-2 here. davidp has done all the legwork, and you can see Rhyme is realizing that this is over. Team Zerator are going to lose another one to Team Mixwell, and again, davidp delivers with a strong 4K. I believe we saw 2 in that last series. In, I think it was the second map, davidp found a 4-kill round, single-handedly taking rounds, putting the team on his back and carrying them to victory.
You know, we saw early on our predictions were that Chiwawa was going to make a splash, and so far it's been a little bit of a inkling of rain in this upcoming, map. Having a look at the slice to the spine, as you've dubbed it, kill after kill, davidp shows us why He may be one of the best Valorant players here in Europe. Shot after shot, just lines him up and knocks him down. Makes it look easy. I wish I could play Sage like that. Unfortunately, I'm stuck as a Brimstone player for the rest of my life. Now moving on to the next round. It is 1-4 Team Mixwell. They're in the driver's seat. Hand on the wheel, and Mixwell says, I'm going to keep that cement brick on the gas pedal too.
Boaster's like, hey, you know, I get it, you have an up, but I've got knives. And Mixwell says, well, I have those too. And if we're going to get into a knife duel, we better both be bringing a knife into it. Boaster swaps out to the rifle, and that's going to be the end of Boaster's rampage. Both Jets are the ones that brought it down to this point, but it falls onto 2, 1 on each side. Fitinho versus the Cypher. You got Zerator, who's got only a Sheriff coming in on the flank. Does Fitinho prepare for this? He's watching, but he's not looking towards the window. It's a silent drop coming in. The timing works out nicely for Fitinho, who actually catches one to the chest and gets dropped down to 33 HP. But it's the first round coming in successful for Team Zerator.
And an operator back into play, likely going over to the man, the myth, the Mixwell. Oof, you hate to see it. You knock down the economy ever so slightly, but still an operator is an expensive purchase. And the fact that it makes its way over to the next round, that's got to, you know, feel pretty good for the side of Team Mixwell.
Also,
yeah.
I misspoke. I said first round for Zerator. I'm brain dead. I was talking about a round for Mixwell.
You need a Red Bull in your system.
I do. You know what? I need to top off. I'm a little tired. Hold on. Should I audibly drink it into the mic?
Some ASMR? Do we need some? Oh,
there you
yeah,
go.
There we go. There we go. Oh, nice stop to the showstopper there. Mixwell finds one. Zerator will take down Orb. Mixwell looking for this A site, but Zerator already looking to try to defend valiantly. They'll have that spike picked up, but Mixwell finds himself a Boaster with the operator. Another one taken down as Chiwawa up from heaven. It is Zerator raining fire, but down to the 2v2. We've seen it down to this point before. From behind, it's actually also davidp. Sorry, let me correct myself. It's a 3v2, make it a 3v1. And the last one standing is Rhyme. But does he have what it takes to clutch this out in the 1v2? The Lee are going to be coming out here to try to stop the Mixwell peak, and now ever so slightly inching his way forward, sees the gun on the other side, almost peeking full, and Mixwell with the 4K sends a message to davidp, says, you got one? I got one too.
Team Zerator have just not been able to really find that weakness. They got close at times. You saw that eco round almost work out off the back of Boaster's ult, getting aggressive in mid. Mixwell tried to do everything to make it impossible for them to win. Still came down to the 1v1, but it was his teammate who ended up clutching it out in that 1v1. Mixwell currently at the top, 11-4. Maybe he heard us talking about it, saying how he's been struggling. Mixwell goes for the double updraft to peek over top of the wall. Love the intel that comes in from Mixwell here as he pulls the knives out, still heading over towards the B site. Wants to just run in and try and slice away at his opposition. But it's actually going to be davidp who draws blood first. It's over on the C site, and the C site's been completely lost. Mixwell still just lurking, playing Ring Around the Rosie right now with Rhyme, who's only rocking a Sheriff on the site. The first shot comes out. It's not going to connect. Mixwell still has the knives out, and eventually everyone just swarms the site. They're like, hey, we might not win the round, but at least we killed Mixwell.
Yeah. I mean, if at that point that is your small victory, I guess you take it. I mean, considering how lopsided this first half has been going so far, you take every victory you can get. Fitinho, though, avenges Mixwell, taking down Chiwawa. davidp as well with the long con flank around. Takes one down, and it's up to 2 now here for Team Zerator. Don't think they have the weaponry to play, so they might pick up some off the ground and look to save. I do feel like that is what Rhyme is looking to do. Jibs here with the Sheriff backs up into potentially davidp, who is now going to be finding himself Rhyme with the operator. And now they'll play Ring Around the Rosie once again. Rhyme seems to be a professional Ring Around the Rosie player, actually, as we found out against Mixwell there, but avoids davidp and lives to tell the tale.
It seems like Team Mixwell has really woken up after that first series and is just dominant right now. David P, 10-4, just behind Mixwell. Is currently at 11-5. We'll see what they decide to do here, but it doesn't seem like it makes a difference which direction they go in. They go to that C site, they go to the A site. It seems like they get in with almost no resistance. The A site of all sites has actually been quite porous for Team Zerator. As again, Mixwell gets aggressive, charges up with that op. He's got to deal with Jibs, who's over in the close corner. Does Mixwell anticipate this, or does the peek come through from Jibs in time? It's all about timing right now. Jibs on the right side. Does Mixwell go for it? Mixwell's starting to peek out. The barrel spotted. And there's the trade. So Mixwell does drop his teammate on site. Jibs going to find one more onto Orb. The nade going down to try and buy some time. And even the bomb buddy going towards short. Satchel to push Jibs over in towards short, but it's not going to work out. David P's already up top. And the res coming in as well as CREA spots out the Sage and brings things down to 1. Again, it's going to be Rhyme here in a 1 versus many. At least CREA will be punished by Rhyme rocking the Reyna, but an 8-1 is likely incoming.
Not a great start here for Team Zerator. We'll see if they're able to kind of turn up the heat in the second half. So far, Team Mixwell is letting that gasoline fly and let that fire burn strong. 8 rounds for them, it's looking like at this point, but an early kill for Rhyme at least can knock down some of that economy, make things a little bit more evenly balanced. But, you know, if you're Team Zerator, I really wonder, what do you do against this Team Mixwell roster? Like, they are just pushing forward, as you said earlier on, bulldozing their competition. And I'm not really quite sure what is it that Team Zerator can do to try to squeeze out rounds. I mean, they're getting close, but it seems like close is not enough.
Well, the op is going to come out here for Boaster. Will we see an accurate match from Boaster's performance? Currently 6-8. Has delivered a few shots out of that op, but I mean, a big part of the problem, hasn't been able to keep it in his hands for too long. With the team consistently losing rounds and losing site control so easily, it's been difficult for Boaster to have too much of an impact. Here's the play we need to see, though, from Boaster. Get aggressive and take the fight straight to him. Wow. The satchel does not push him out far enough, so Jibs quickly taken care of, as it's now a 4-on-3. Mixwell at a disadvantage, but we've seen it before, and it hasn't necessarily hurt them too much. The ult's going to get popped by Reyna. There's one Heaven. Whiffed shot from Mixwell, a rare miss. As they continue to try and sneak their way onto the site, it'll be Boaster now who wins the 1v1. The question we've been asking ourselves all game long, when they finally face, who is it that's going to be coming out victorious in those exchanges?
I mean, you still have the X factor. David P, very much so alive, carrying that spike over towards B potentially, but there's a couple of Cypher tripwires and cameras set up here to try to stop that push further. They'll be making their way through the doors now. There is only one on that C side. It is Rhyme, who is waiting on the opposite side. Lear going to be used here to try to stop that any potential pushes, but with 30 seconds left on the clock, they need to push and push somewhere soon. Rhyme, unfortunately, gives up control. Now they'll have control of the C site around the corner. That's going to be Rhyme that now is untargetable, and the barrier orb to give David P some space. He's going to see that there's a couple in and around every nook and cranny on the site. They make their way back over to C in time. Team Zerator staying alive, putting round number 2 on the board.
Little rounds here and there. Little tastes of success coming in for Team Zerator. A nibble. As again, Boaster was kind of the kingpin on the round there with that operator. Got aggressive, dropped one early, and then, most importantly, took Mixwell out of the equation. The deep wall coming in over towards short will prevent them from gaining access to garage early. They'll have to detonate that ice by just blowing it to pieces. But they've managed to sneak past it after the early damage dealt to the wall. So they blew it apart quite quickly, and they're trying to work towards the C site. You've got Mixwell already up inside garage window. There's a jet right around the corner with the off, though. That's Boaster, and a nice shot from Boaster and a follow-up move. But Orb is there. well-delivered shot to the head of Boaster, but it still comes down to 2. And now, just 1, it's the Cypher. In a 1-on-4, Team Zerator has finally found some sort of solution, but just like that, it falls down quickly to 2. There's no spike control here for Orb, but it is within reach. He'll go back and grab it inside the cubby, and I like the play. He's going to run this one all the way over to the A site.
It's going to be very key for him to try to maneuver his way and anticipate where the opposition is going to land. They have a camera on A, so at the very bare minimum, if he does make his way through, he'll have to do it slowly to avoid any of the possibility for the camera to spot him out. So far not in use. Checks it once. All good. And I feel like I would have made the play towards sewers. The likelihood of not being spotted out is reduced considering how much cover there is, but sees the camera, or I'm not quite sure. Now it's there. Shots in. Now he has to get that spike down. He's got 10 seconds left. They'll get the call and the move back over towards the A site. The paint shells going to try to make it rain. Not going to connect with Orb quite yet. He's going to try to get into a great position, but is pushed back over towards Hell, considering the Roomba was trying to gather information. Now they'll divide and conquer. One up in heaven, drops down. The headshot's clean, but it's Jibs that'll seal the deal with that last and final frag, putting Team Zerator up to 3 now. And like you said, round after round, slowly and surely, they are making a dent to Team Mixwell.
Yeah, I mean, they're keeping themselves alive, getting themselves in the game, starting to just wake up a little bit. Coming into the final round of the first half, yet again, the operator will be in Boaster's hands. Rhyme, who's only in this series switched over to the Reyna. We saw Rhyme rocking the Omen in the previous series, which was a bit of a surprise. They still almost lost this round. Orb did everything possible to try and win that one. Almost found the ace clutch. And it was, what, a 1-on-4? So it would have been an impressive round victory if it were possible. But now we come into this one. And again, Mixwell doesn't have the money for the operator, so Mixwell just wants to get aggro towards A. They're going to use the ult of the Omen to get in towards that A site. And it's CREA who's currently in hell, and Jibs just does not see it coming, so they've lost the site. Boaster's been flushed out of position as the paranoia and the dark cover come in. The operator not having impact. Mixwell will take out Boaster as well, so down goes the operator player. Zerator's in heaven waiting for the clouds to fade as the jet smokes went soaring into that territory. There's the updraft as well, but the knives straight to the belly of Zerator, just like that. It's now down to 2. Chiwawa has to retreat as the dart is delivered, and again Mixwell continues with the knives. It's only one that remains. It's Rhyme popping the ult as Reyna going for the leer through, but it doesn't matter. Despite their struggles in the last few rounds, Mixwell ends the first half with a little cherry on top, 9-3.
This is where Team Zerator now have the opportunity to try to make their run back, but they've got 6 rounds to do so. If they win the first 2, it's at least a good sign. But for Team Mixwell, now swapping over to defense, we'll see how they play things out here. So far running the Cypher and the Sage on towards A. Interesting to see 2 anchors hold the site together, but still can work quite well. And considering Team Zerator are kind of poised towards that side, I'm not really thinking they're going towards A. It's looking like a push in towards B. See how this pans out. It'll be the first pistol in the second half.
You better run, Sova.
It was a big pistol for Team Zerator. They desperately need to put their foot down and stop Mixwell from hitting double digits right off the bat. Mixwell right around the corner with the Ghost. His doppelganger, the Jet on the other side, Boaster, right there. A little bit of a whiff at first, but comes back together with the Ghost and actually finds a second as well. Rhyme there with the quick trade out, but they're losing bodies and they're losing them fast. Rhyme gets aggressive, pushes through into A-Link. They've managed to gather up all site control. Everyone's gone except for Rhyme. Rhyme taken care of in the end by 3 remaining players as Fitinho hits the final shot. 10-3 double digits for Team Mixwell.
Oh. Your team, Zerator, you're shaking in your boots. Having a quick look at the replay. Mixwell, unfortunately, could not line up the collateral as they were kind of bobbing and weaving. He's trying to get the crosshair towards their heads. Lands 2, of course, but now moving on to this next round at hand is Team Zerator going to try their hand once again towards B, and Mixwell will be the guardian, stopping them there, the gatekeeper of the site. But things have swapped over a little bit. Still the Cypher and Sage playing towards A, but they're playing a little bit more aggressively here. Mixwell again. Mixwell 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the save here for Team Zerator. One final member remain. And it's CREA taking down jbzz. Mixwell sending a message. Don't mess with me, boys.
This is not looking good for Team Zerator, despite that early start in the day where they looked oh so good against Team Arch. We were ready to crown them. We were ready to say, these guys win already. Chiwawa is nuts. And so is Boaster. But then the second they hit some serious competition, they've crumbled a bit, losing to Team Draken. And now down 11-3 in map number 1 against Team Mixwell. Just not able to match the level of output coming in from the teams they're facing off against. davidp getting aggressive on short. Finds one. Mixwell's aggressive in mid, already pushed up in the window. They've got A site control, but there's one long that they're not accounting for. The Reyna Rhyme is actually all the way up on long. The spike is down in spawn, though. And you can see they're taking the exchanges, and now it's come down to jbzz and that Reyna, and now just the Reyna. So Rhyme over on the A site on A long. They have no reason to expect someone to be here. There's no cameras there, but there are some tripwires and traps laid out by the Cypher. So Rhyme might have a kill coming in here that is unexpected, and there it is. Orb not expecting that position from Rhyme, but the spike is in a difficult spot to gather.
Slow Orb going to make things just that much more difficult. Rhyme trying to come out on top here, but the cards are stacked against him, and he's about to get dealt a full hand of knives. Mixwell taking him down. Getting a little bit of an update on the other side of the, not the bracket, but the other matches at hand. Team Draken won against Team Arch 13-1 on Ascent. What a performance that must have been from Team Draken, especially on Ascent when things probably swapped over to the second half. I wonder how that match panned out, but still, nevertheless, very, very interesting to see how Team Mixwell and Team Draken are just fighting for first place.
The op on long. It's Orb watching on the other side of that cyber cage, but everyone is going short. Boaster currently leading the charge. As they start to push their way in, the train's going to be cut into 2 pieces as the raise goes down. Mixwell spraying through. Orb is there as well, delivering with that operator. The Sheriff comes out. A full mag dumped there, but it doesn't matter. 13-3. Team Mixwell crushing Team Zerator in map number 1.
Yeah, at the end of the day, just it's Team Mixwell. What can you do? I feel like the map at hand that we saw between Team Draken and Mixwell may have been the closest match of the day, but we still have a couple of more maps to go. Team Zerator have the opportunity to sway things back in their favor. Maybe they're just not as comfortable on Haven as they might be on other maps. I'm trying to give them a little bit more credit, but it just, Team Mixwell is very, very strong, and they're showing that here at the G2 Esports Valorant Invitational.
Yeah, I mean, right now it does kind of look like it's Mixwell and Draken. They're the 2 teams in this group that are strong. Zerator, despite that strong start, just didn't really turn things around for us. Looking at that game, Mixwell must have hurt us at some point during the broadcast, because he delivered 25 and 10 coming in from Mixwell on the Jet. A strong performance from a player that we've been expecting to see all day long. Again, it's not that he's been playing bad. Not at all. He just hasn't been the all-star performer. He's been overshadowed at times by CREA and davidp, who's currently sitting at the top for the MVP race, tied with a couple of other players. This will at least put 1 star into that one for Mixwell.
Yeah, and they can feel confident going into the next map, whatever it may be, that they can at least keep that momentum going. This could be a 2-0 sweep for them, and same goes for the opposite side of the bracket. Team Draken, a 13-1 performance. That is not something that you just scoff at. That is very, very convincing. But it is a team that we talked about maybe placing a little bit lower in comparison to the rest of the group, Team Arch. So it does make a little bit more sense. And the firepower on Draken as well means that that map, or that performance rather, makes a whole lot of sense.
Well, we are going to go ahead and throw things to a break. We'll see if map number 2 is going to bode well for Team Zerator after Mixwell just crushed them in map number 1. Stay tuned, and the G2 Esports Valorant Invitational will be back in just a bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, and I'm excited to be back. I'm, of course, Simo. Joined with me is Bach, casting the G2 Esports Valorant Invitational. Huge part of the Valorant Ignition series. We just saw Team Mixwell really tear apart their opponent on Haven, and now moving on to the next map. I am excited to see how they continue that domination, or Team Zerator will come back swinging.
Yeah, now, do we know the second map? I don't know if we know the second map yet. I don't think we've seen anything. But, I mean, I'm going to anticipate it's Bind. Like, let's be real. Oh, no.
Ooh.
It's Ascent. So you had talked about this, whether or not we'd see some of those weird, interesting picks. And that's actually the Mixwell pick. So Haven was the pick coming in from their opponent. And then we go over to Ascent here. Not all that surprised, considering we did already see them play, and they played it well against Team Draken. The question is whether or not the guys from Team Zerator are prepared for a map like Ascent. Definitely a little bit harder to play on the attacking side. A lot of choke points, especially towards that B site. Very difficult. And mid control, very, very important on the attacking side.
Yeah, and speaking of the attacking side, it will be Mixwell that starts off there. Zerator, of course, going to be defending to kick us off in the first half. And something that's going to be super important for Team Mixwell, if they want to close this out in a 2-0, they need to have the best possible attacking half that you could dream of on Ascent. And it might be difficult, especially, you know, they had a great performance on Haven, and Zerator definitely felt the heat, but can that same heat apply on the attacking side for Mixwell? Just gonna have to wait and see, and that's also ultimately will revolve around some of the agent selection and some of the strategies that Mixwell execute on the upcoming map.
Now, we should see a very similar agent layout as we saw from them previously, and we do. So Mixwell is going to stay on the Jet. We saw Viper picked once today by Mixwell on Bind, but it's been all Jet ever since, though. Then Orb goes to the hard locking up Cypher, CREA on the Omen, no surprise there. davidp on the Sage as well. Everything seems to line up and make sense. On the opposite side, Rhyme is going to stay with the Reyna, so the Omen play is actually going to come in from Boaster. So Boaster no longer on the Jet, as they need those smokes. We've talked about it before. Smoke control right now, the name of the game on Ascent. Sometimes you'll even see a Brim Omen, so you have the extra smokes just to guarantee you can gather up that control of mid. But we'll see what happens here in the pistol with Team Zerator starting on the defense. The dart's going to land just behind the Omen's head. That's going to push them back. Chiwawa with a nice peek and the dink shot coming down. Great damage dealt to 2 here on Team Mixwell.
Yeah, they'll still try to push through. I think Team Zerator maybe respecting their opposition a little too much, but already a couple of kills going over their way. Team Mixwell now, I feel like they've got a little bit more control of B site than they really know, so they'll start to make their way through, and Zerator now have to react.
Zerator back towards spawn with the Ghost. The team now joining him. The site's been lost, and the spike's been planted. The cam does put a dart into Mixwell. He'll back off and land inside the muck on the B site. Smoke's coming out here from both Omens on both sides. The bomb buddy doesn't do much, but there is some intel delivered by way of the recon dart. The pulses giving away the position of one over towards the boathouse. Fitinho able to find one. There's the skill coming in from the Reyna that results in a kill for Mixwell, but it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until it's down to just 2, Jibs and Mixwell. And Jibs able to win the fight. So it will be Team Zerator picking up the pistol, despite the fact that we saw Mixwell gain access to a very difficult to grab B site.
Yeah, and considering they started off with a plant on their first round, I mean, if that's going to tell me anything, it's going to tell me that Mixwell either know how to play Ascent, and they can play it well on attack, or they may be having a little bit of lack of respect for their opposition and just trying to win based on just gun duels alone. I mean, it's worked, you know, on Haven. They were able to just push onto sites, and with the gun prowess of Mixwell, Fitinho, and especially davidp, they were able to get that job done. We'll see if they're going to rely on that prowess this time around. But off to a great start for Boaster. Takes down CREA, and looking for kill number 2 here in the mid-courtyard.
Great damage coming out early here from Team Zerator. Bringing it down to 1, it's Mixwell now, the team captain, trying to salvage what's left of the round with just a classic outside the B site. It's unlikely that anything's really going to happen. And Mixwell almost at a point of looking like he wasn't even there. The spike back towards spawn. Mixwell just wants to dedicate himself towards picking up that orb, at least guaranteeing that for himself. The missed shot from the camera gives away its position, but it doesn't matter. Again, just a pistol here in the possession of Mixwell. There's one in spawn already, one pushing through B-Link. It's pretty much over. The chokehold is being applied here by Team Zerator.
Finds himself behind the post office. Tries to keep things a little bit more interesting. If he comes out with a couple of kills, that'll really hurt the economy here for Team Zerator, and that's why they're really respecting Mixwell here. The classic, able to take a couple of shots over towards the Reina player, but actually won't connect with any, and it'll be jbzz that seals the deal on that final frag. A flawless round coming out from Team Zerator, and a great start on Ascent, a map that they really need to take the win here. But of course, if we remember, this is Mixwell's pick. So this is going to be up to them to really turn up the heat on the attacker side.
This is a nice.
I like this play from Mixwell. Are we going to see something creative here off this double box? There's the ult pop, and then floating along, gliding in as the Jet doesn't go for a second leap. Misses, though, and look at that. They just get crushed by Zerator's defense here over on the A site. The aggressive play coming out from the defense works out masterfully, as now it's down to just Fitinho. It was CREA who died over on the B site, and Fitinho looking around, asking himself what happened.
It's one of those rounds that you, on any other map, would very likely be competitive, but clean sweep from the side of Team Zerator. Of course, there is still Fitinho that can make the difference, but another flawless round yet again, and that just really proves how difficult it is to push in through on Ascent. A lot of choke points, and mid is very open, so trying to funnel in through Kench bench can really prove to be difficult, especially who's on the other side will very likely be an operator that is waiting to gun you down in the face. Boaster, though, with the Phantom going to get into that position, and now we'll see how Team Mixwell try to adapt. Of course, it is pistols for them, so look for that full buy in the round to follow, but they can definitely make this one a little bit expensive for Team Zerator.
Blinding.
Chiwawa playing up on Cat, trying to stop this player back in the B link. Again, reminder about this map, very defense-sided. So watch this first half and understand that a repeat performance could come in from Team Mixwell in the second half, but at least it's promising to see Team Zerator winning a lot of these individual exchanges in these one-on-ones. As I say that, Mixwell gets up a little bit further in mid with just a ghost, able to find one. The gun, unfortunately, tumbles down off the ledge, and as he goes to scoop it up, one was waiting for him. It's down to one. It's davidp. He's been a hero before for the likes of Team Mixwell. Can he do it again?
Unfortunately for him, as he makes his way through the fish market, he will find himself on the opposite end of a couple of tripwires and a little bit of a camera. But good call on the rotation through mid, and tries to potentially make his way towards A. A slow orb over towards A might be a little bit more telling, but no one's there. No one's even close. And so trying to make short work of what he's got in the situation. Boaster with the operator. It's one of the things about here on Ascent. Oh, wow. Even a little bit of a teabag. What is that, Earl Grey? Jeez, Boaster. Oh, my goodness.
I'm more of an English breakfast kind of guy. Gotta start the day right, you know? So the op on both sides. Boaster this time, though, with the Omen. That said, it didn't affect CREA, who put in an all-star performance the last time we saw Team Mixwell playing on Ascent, where the operator proved to be very powerful for them. This time, Boaster kind of falling into a role maybe he's less comfortable in, though. We'll see if it has any effect on his use of abilities. Commonly using those jet skills to escape. Chiwawa with the wall in mid, but there you go. There's Boaster getting started with the operator, taking down the Sova. Fitinho going down. There is a dark cover down. Paranoia follows through. davidp picking off Chiwawa. CREA trying to work their way in towards that A site. But there's defense back behind the box and one up in heaven as well. Again, very difficult on the attacking side here.
A little bit more respect given over to Team Zerator this time around, considering, or sorry, Team Zerator over to Team Mixwell, considering the weaponry that they have available. Jibs here, gonna try to get into position, but unfortunately the blast back not working the first time. Tries again with the second. It'll connect onto Mixwell. Still one down below behind the ledge. The resurrection puts Mixwell back into the mix. That Salad's already tossed up. Boaster gonna take down David P. It's still down to the 3v4. Make it the 2v4. And Mixwell got the spike in hand. Around the corner he goes. Jibs will take him down. And an unfortunate shot to miss. And Orb will be the last to fall. A 5-0 start here for Zerator. And they got to be feeling good compared to that last map.
This goes here. Oh, this is a nice spot.
Double op. I like this. Chiwawa, who again, all-star in that first series of the day, looked great, but has since been struggling. We haven't really seen that level of performance from Chiwawa again. So maybe the op is what unlocks it. Maybe that's the critical piece. They're going to go ahead and use the Owl drone in towards the B site, and they're going to scoop up the orb as well. There's Chiwawa with the op, delivering on the first kill of the round. Trying to slow down that push in towards the A site. You've still got the Cypher here, but the Cypher is a little bit concerned about what could be coming that direction. They've already gathered up site control to a certain degree, but Zerator is still here. Backed by the door controls. There's the knives coming out. A switch to the pistol for Mixwell. As the door gets shut, it's a 3-on-4, but the numbers favor Team Zerator.
Yeah, then you get the sweet take, took in the Hunter's Fury, going to make things that much more difficult. Fitinho finds one, can't tag on the third. 3v3, Mixwell in a great position, trying to keep things a little bit more interesting. And now CREA off to the side, not trying to get spotted by this recon bolt. And in fact, clone around the corner they go. Mixwell as well, going to clean things up. Chiwawa, the last one alive, but the dog back in the kennel. Fitinho takes him down, and it's Team Mixwell with their first round on the board.
Finally, Mixwell gets their foot in the door. Again, you know, being that this is a bit of a difficult uphill battle on the attacking side, it's surprising to see so many efforts towards that B site. The B site, we talked about it coming into this, has some serious choke points. Now, you do have mid access to B, but on the A site, you've got cat to tree room, and you've also got the long A approach. Mixwell going to boost up over the top. I love this look. Seen it a few times in the past. But no peek coming out on short, not at least initially. David P says, hey, that's cute and all. We've got the op backing me up, but I don't need him. David P has now found 3. Gets full control of mid. Is this going to be another David P 4K? It is. Will we finally see the David P ace? There's only one that remains. It's the Rays. It's Jibs over in the A site. And you know David P is like, please, let me have it. Please.
I mean, you're seeing the rest of the team back away. David P now, he's on the lurk, he's on the prowl, looking for that last and final member. Unfortunately, the timing may not be in his favor, but he sets up a little tent here in the garden, now making his way over to the tree room. Unfortunately for him, the Rays is kind of playing ring around the rosy with the empty space between the A site, the garden, to be the focal point. And unfortunately for David P, Mixwell steals the ace, rightfully deserving of David P. But still, a round going over to Team Mixwell has to feel good, especially on the attacker side. And we're still so early in this first half, just barely over second half. Whoa, that is a good little jump there for Mix. Did they just find that out? No, you can't really see it though. I think now with the barrier orb boost, they will be able to get that look. Or is this the same boost?
This is the same boost, yeah. So you updraft on top, and then yeah, you do this. You can also do it with an Omen if the Omen teleports up. This is a pretty common play. This will be something you'll see a lot of on Ascent. Obviously, it's going to be something that people are going to figure out. So, not necessarily something that's always going to work, but you're going to see it pretty commonly. I like the shot there onto Orb through the box. No spam coming in from the player that was in the B site, though, to do any follow-up damage. Again, we talked about this. There's that infamous, now famous clip of Hiko getting multiple kills through the wall with a Sheriff. That wall, paper thin. So spam away. Reminds me of Dust 2B on CS 1.6 and Source. Here comes the attempted push up short. CREA gets orbed off, so going to back off. doesn't want to wander in with the operator. Initially had the pistol pulled, but decides to backpedal. And it does seem like, yet again, we're going to see a play towards the B site. Really surprising that we're seeing this many pushes towards B.
Boaster waiting with the off, ever so slightly the jiggle from Mixwell. Neither of them will land their shots, and around the corner, Fitinho will seal the deal. The spray from Chiwawa unfortunately finds no one. Spray through as well to look for one final more. Rhyme here, now in the back of sight, feeling the pressure from the team, starting to pinch through. It's Orb that'll be taken down first. The resurrection on Fitinho puts him back into play. And Team Zerator are struggling to find an answer. They've got the retake here now up on their to-do list. Jibs finds himself taken down. davidp as well with the 3K. Pretty standard round for Team Mixwell. They're making attack look a little bit more bearable on Ascent, considering we have 4 more rounds left in the half.
Yeah, not too shabby. If I'm not mistaken, how many rounds? I think it was 3 rounds. Wasn't it a 9-3 half when they played against Draken on Ascent earlier, with Draken getting 3 rounds on the attacking side? I want to say that was in fact the case. So we'll see the pistols coming out here for Team Zerator. Seems like a likely round win coming in for Team Mixwell based on the purchase. You're going to have sheriffs across the board. You do have 3 ults, the Reyna ult. You've got the Omen teleport, and you've also got the Cypher ult coming in as well. But as I say that, 2 players go down almost instantaneously, and the Neural Theft is actually going to come out from the attacking side. I like the read, the awareness there from Chiwawa, knowing that after that Neural Theft came through, likely was going to see a push, so just holding an angle for it, waiting, but it doesn't matter in the end, as Zerator is the only one left standing over on the A site, gathering up the tripwires that were laid down and just looking to possibly rip a gun away from someone on the attacking side.
Fortunately, it would be CREA that rips his heart out of his chest, takes him down, or rather his head, rather. And Team Mixwell, they're catching up. It's a 5-4 half already. And while Zerator had every right to continue that momentum, Mixwell, or rather Team Mixwell, they put a stop on that early. Of course, that was just the eco round. And you rarely see an eco round from the defense on Ascent, but that one's got to hurt, especially when you swap over to that second half. Zerator, I think, will likely struggle. So they need to make these rounds matter.
Early intel over on the B site as one goes reeling after being spotted out by the Owl drone. Yet again, davidp strikes first. We've seen it time and time again. davidp seems to control Catwalk quite easily. The orb's going to shatter the glass and land on the other side. Chiwawa, his counterpart on the other side, his doppelganger, playing Heaven, can't get the Phantom under control, and that's a problem as there's now multiple members of the attacking side swarming the site. Meanwhile, you've got 2 over on B, and there's 1 on Catwalk. This is a little bit strange as Jibs gets into a fight with them, but goes down to Mixwell. Rhyme chimes in with the operator, spots his teammate trying to work over through short. Down is Rhyme, and it's all up to the last 2 left standing. Chiwawa goes back, picks off Mixwell, starts to demolish the door, and now that we have ourselves a 2-on-2, the res is going to come thing and tip scales in favor of Team Zerator.
Oh, this retake has been so good. davidp, though, the last one standing the barrier, or going to make it a little bit more difficult. Around the corner, they'll peek, and it's Chiwawa taking down the man in the mirror. davidp will fall victim to the spray from Chiwawa. Another round back on the board for Zerator. All they needed was a little bit of an eco to put them back into the swing of things. But still, 2 rounds remain, including this one in the half. So Team Zerator, their likely scenario, you know, will be an 8-4 half. But Team Mixwell, I feel like on attack, on Ascent, your dream is 6-6. I feel like that is, I mean, your dream should obviously be 12-0, but I feel like for attack, 6-6 is a dream, a distant dream, usually for competitive Ascent.
Early play in mid. Oh, Boaster pulls off just as the peek was potentially coming through. It was the Cypher who was jiggle peeking, but in that shuffle of positions has found one back on the other side of this wall. davidp tried to get aggressive with that wall. We've seen him do that on maps like Bind, boosting up over the short boxes. but it doesn't work out so well. CREA sneaks into the backside. The Arch is inside the muck. The rocket's going to come out from Jibs, and the showstopper does stop the show for Orb. Fitinho manages to pick one up, though, with the Vandal. Again, even strength 3-on-3, a lot of chaos, a lot of back and forth action across various points on the map. But the spike lost, and that's the big problem. It's been dropped in mid, and now trying to get back towards it is going to be difficult. There's a wall down, so Mixwell pops the ult and is running in knives first, trying to lead the charge to pick that spike back up.
The most important thing for them if they want to squeeze this one out. Even more difficult in the upcoming round. Jibs with the pre-fire spray through the smoke will find one. Fitinho will answer back, and now the 2v2, but still, they hold on to that spike. They'll finally end up picking it up, and this is where I call the rotate either towards A or B. You know, Team Zerator are going to try to keep their eye on the spike. Around the corner they go, and it's Chiwawa through the smoke, makes the hero play, and puts one back on the board there for Team Zerator. I mean, at that point, you don't continue to push forward, you pull back, and you rotate to one of those sites, but unfortunately not going to be the case here for Team Mixwell.
Let's take a look at the replay as well. Chiwawa right around the corner, just a 1-2 right after the other. They just line up. Not quite as nice as the highlight we saw from CREA early on this map, the collateral that came in with the AWP on an attempted long A push where he was playing Heaven as the Omen, delivering a shot to the skull and the chest of the one behind, but still not too shabby. Mixwell was leaning towards A heavily here. Again, it feels like B has been where they found most of their success, heavily getting into that B site. But this time around, they're going to go towards A. CREA playing with that dark cover and the ult, having fun right now with the defense. Rhyme back behind the generator, does manage to escape, using that invis and that invulnerability to get away. But now the site's been lost. The spike should be planted momentarily. The satchel comes in to do additional damage. Follow-up satchel as well. The red's coming out.
Wow.
CREA picking off Zerator on Heaven. There's one coming through from short. It's Boaster going down. davidp chimes in with one of his own. Mixwell with the follow-up at the end. 7-5. Strong first half coming out from Team Mixwell.
Oh, 7-5 is your score line at the halftime. Moving into the next half, it will be now Team Mixwell swapping over to defense, and something that we've talked about time and time again, especially in the previous maps that we got to see Ascent. It's very defender-sided, so now Team Mixwell, they'll have their pick of the litter and have some fun with the offense. See how Team Zerator react. Do they have some executes or strategies that can net them a few rounds? Ideally, they would have loved more rounds at this point, but they don't have a lot to work with, and I think Team Mixwell catch up quite quickly.
Pings going out here as the pistol round kicks off. They're moving towards this A site using the cyber cages to try to get in. Orbs hiding inside a cyber cage. A lot going on the site right now. davidp manages to pick up two before falling. Orb did great damage but couldn't find one of his own. Fitinho has delivered with a shot through the wall onto the stage, so that's the heals gone. And it's a 3-on-2 advantage here for Team Mixwell.
Mixwell has to break down the door, and he's going to do it with the sword. I feel like it'd be a little bit more satisfying, but only gets 2 whacks, and now it's about to go down. But in goes Boaster. Unfortunately, not going to pan out too well for him. Now it's just Jibs fighting in hell, and his demons will get the best of him. Another round going over Team Mixwell. Very, very rough stuff if your Team Zerator starting to fall apart at the seams, it feels like. And to give you a little bit of an update on the other side, it is Team Draken that'll come out on top with a clean 2-0, 13-6 to scoreline of the second map. Now all that remains is the match at hand. Team Draken, of course, now 2-1 in the groups. See if it is going to end up being 2-1 apiece for these two teams.
Deep breath.
Not entirely surprised by that performance there. That does statistically eliminate Team Arch. So that means at this point, Team Zerator has already made it through into the playoff stages. It's just now trying to determine what position they'll be in. Same with Team Mixwell. If Team Zerator can pick up the victory here on Ascent, certainly possible. Orb and Mixwell getting involved in the action early, 1:13 on the clock, and it's down to just 2 players remaining here on Team Zerator. You've got the Cypher and the Raze, and they're both towards long A. The tripwire goes in, spots out Zerator, and now the last one standing is right around the corner. It's an easy pickup for Orb to end the round. 3 players survive. Even a tripwire makes it out. We're tied up at 7 apiece.
Oh, if I'm Team Zerator, I'm starting to shake in my boots. You know, Ascent scorelines definitely don't look 7-5 as often, but maybe that is starting to be the shift as the attacker side find more and more strategies to keep things a little bit more competitive against the defense. It should currently feel like a defender-sided map, and Team Mixwell starting off hot. CREA here with the operator going to continue that momentum, hopefully in favor of Team Mixwell, but for the side of Team Zerator, little do they know, on the opposite side is a scary gun. They'll look towards from mid for control to start us off.
Deploying drone.
Early part of this round.
The Owl will spot the Raze out over in B link. Shock dart going in. Does connect. So good damage dealt to the Raze early on with just a single shock dart and the Owl. Follow-up dart. This one's going to be the recon,
There they are.
trying to see if anyone's out in mid already. There is one. Make it 2. They spot 2 on that charge, that pulse coming out from the recon dart. You've got 2 players here. You've got Mixwell right around the corner, playing close with the Spectre. They anticipate a close play. You can see the spam already coming through. Will they peek and be prepared for this, though? Doesn't look like it as of yet. Nice paranoia coming out. Does a lot of work to blind a little bit of both sides, but the dart cover is down on mid, and it's a little bit passive play right now coming in from Team Zerator. They're just now starting to work their way up onto long A and up short as well. There's the peek coming in from Orb. Had a possibility to find the second, but just couldn't quite get the SMG under control. davidp also comes up empty-handed. The A-side defense falls flat on its face. It's down to 2 here for the side of Mixwell.
Get the guns you need and you start to make things work. For Team Zerator, hopes and dreams are still alive.
Cover going out.
It is up now to CREA and to Mixwell. Try to turn things back into their favor. Of course, 2v3 going to be very difficult to deal with. The showstopper not even going to tag CREA, and now can safely back up. Up now to heaven. The shot is clean from Boaster, and Mixwell now down to him and his Spectre. He's got the full armor, but up against 3 and a closed door. Going to be difficult for him to maneuver his way through. Not down and out quite yet, and going to try to still get the ninja defuse maybe, or just pick up the weapon. A good call, getting that operator back into play in the following round. Team Zerator back in the lead, putting us at 8-7. Bach, got a feeling this is going to be a close one.
I mean, that's a big round coming out from Team Zerator. Just unfortunate that Mixwell couldn't quite make the impact necessary there for his team. davidp currently at 15 kills alongside Mixwell. On the opposite side, it's jbzz, who's actually doing quite well. Not to say that jbzz is a bad player, just again, kind of like Mixwell in some of those earlier games. More of a background performer, just sort of kind of lurking in the shadows, doing well, but not doing great enough to be highly profiled like we had with Boaster and Chiwawa. davidp getting aggressive. I like the look. The aggressive play coming in. There's an orb going down to try and enhance this push. Nice satchel coming out. And the boost up over the slow orb as well. Great look coming in from Chiwawa, who's starting to come alive yet again.
2 early kills here for Team Zerator. I mean, they have their relative pick of the litter where they want to go. Difficult to split the defense across so many points of entry. Team Zerator deciding to look up towards Catwalk and potentially end up in on that A site. Tripwire going to be there, likely to spot them out. CREA misses a crucial op shot, which could have turned things back into their favor. But now they'll start that push in. Fitinho going to be there as well. CREA finds himself looking down into a little bit of paranoia. Team Zerator, they're biding their time. They're taking it slow. A couple of shots early for Fitinho, not going to connect. Now opens up the A site. The spike going to go down, and it's up to 2 here now for Team Mixwell.
And this is going to be a save. Mixwell's looking for that potential lurking player waiting in mid, and there you go. Just a quick tap to the side of the head sends Zerator into a deep, deep sleep. You know, there is a very real possibility we are going to a third map. And then it'll be interesting. That third map could end up being Bind, which we know Mixwell's team has had issues on, but still at the same time played well when we've seen them other times. Or we could be going to Split, which that's a whole different beast in and of itself. So this could get real interesting if we do make it to that third map.
Nice.
Because if Team Zerator wins this series, that is a 3-way tie for first place. And that first place position is huge. While all 3 teams make it into bracket play, the top seed gets a bye straight into the semifinals. You're guaranteed top 4.
And if anyone I know is going to want to be in that advanced position, it's going to be Team Draken. They want that mustache off. Carlos, if you make it to the grand finals, just send you a friendly reminder, stash goes. So Team Draken obviously want to be in that driver's seat, but for the side of Team Mixwell, don't think they're going to want to let that happen. So still fighting alive here, 9-7. The scoreline still has the ability for Team Mixwell to try to turn things back around, but seeing Team Zerator in a completely different look, it's very exciting. See them try to run it back here. Going to be at the hands of Team Mixwell, who are looking to defend. 3 already on the B side. Fitinho with the Sheriff finds 1, and it's Chiwawa down. Still 4 members remain.
We hit the minute mark, and action is still developing. davidp with the Sheriff, cutting down this attacking force to even lesser numbers. Zerator finally responds for the team that bears his own name. Prime watching the pushback into spawn. There's the ult leap coming out from Mixwell. Some damage dealt, but does not finish off the heavily damaged Zerator. The Cypher right around the corner with almost no HP. It's down to a 2-on-1. Fitinho knows where this raise is at. The missed shot coming in from CREA. No! CREA had an opportunity, but jibzz somehow survives. Team Zerator finds themselves on double digits, almost losing to a round that should have been much easier to win.
Yeah, that's got to hurt economy-wise. Of course, jibzz finds himself in a great position, gets himself kills. Yeah, that's the hero play, but look at the economy down to the triple digits for a couple of those members. They're going to feel good about their bye now, but if they come out on the bitter end of this upcoming round, may not bode well for them for the rounds to come. Mixwell, of course, want to put one back on the board. They had a lead, or they tied it up shortly, but since then, Zerator has been in the driver's seat. The ball is in their court, but can they take it to the hoop is going to be the question. So far, poised and looking towards the B site in the early part of this round. Mixwell poised up again, set up across the map, and it's Mixwell who backs away, giving a little bit more control towards Pizza and Kench.
I have retrieved the spike.
Rhyme takes care of the drone flying over on the site. Boaster, again, we've seen this Omen ult into that back side of the site, inside the arches in the muck. And it works out yet again, but it's cut down a little bit quicker. G2 Mixwell, my goodness, you can see why he was signed. Mixwell hitting a dirty second shot with the operator, as Fitinho also helps out by connecting with the Hunter's Fury. It's now on Rhyme. Rhyme's got himself that ult popped on the Reyna, but the spike is down inside the market. This was an impressive stop from Mixwell with the operator. Rhyme trying to bring it back, though, for Team Zerator.
Talked about the repercussions of this map if Team Zerator are not able to clutch this out on the shoulders of Rhyme. It spell bad news for the rounds to come. The economy won't be in the greatest shape, so very important that Rhyme takes his time. But unfortunately, Mixwell says, time's out, time's up. Now it puts us at a 10-8 scoreline. Mixwell back in the driver's seat, looking to try to tie things back up 10-10. They can definitely look to do so with the economy coming up. Does not look like Team Zerator will have the weaponry to play. Having a quick look at the replay, Mixwell just one after another. And Fitinho to follow up. Super, super well done.
That was so fast. Literally, the shot hits, and instantly you see that slide out. It was like almost the same second that the bullet lands. I mean, that's just crazy. Mixwell here, though, doesn't even get an opportunity to fire, gets dropped so fast. And you can see Fitinho doesn't want to give up control. Oh, no, the timing. He actually let Rhyme in to scoop it up, saw or heard the nade coming in, and got a little concerned. So now Fitinho's gone over towards Pizza, doesn't realize that apparently that bomb buddy has got off-road wheels. So it goes up on top of the boxes and does significant damage. CREA is here at least for some follow-up, some backup, some support. And now the last one left alive, it's a fake port. No surprise there. We've seen that time and time again. Boaster tries to dupe him, but no one falls for it. It's 10-9 now. We were almost tied up.
Whew. Team Zerator, they're shaking in their boots. They have been for the past, half how this has unfolded.
I need this.
They've got the weaponry to play this time around. Boaster with the operator. Now they're going to be trying their hand on potential A push here. To be quite honest, it has been one of the very few pushes that has worked. B has not worked at all. And A has been the ticket for them to make it through. And based on the positioning from Team Mixwell, they don't really have the setup. Of course, they've got the dark cover that goes through, but they've already made it past that. But an early rotate from Fitinho is going to be a little bit more even in the odds.
CREA gonna have a tall task, as is the Sova here, Fitinho. They send that Owl drone through, not gonna spot anyone. Nope. Manages to turn back and knows there's two coming in. At this point, they anticipate the push is coming from that direction. So here comes the paranoia, the flash to slow things down. The flank doesn't work out so well for davidp after the initial duel. CREA does at least get one, but got dinked in the process. Zerator's been brought back from the dead by Chiwawa. So just like that, we see the numbers back at even strength. You've got Mixwell pushing up on short, looking for anyone that could be coming out of the backside of this play. As of yet, they haven't fully committed to A, so this is the right call. After the Undertaker grabbed their teammate from the depths of hell and pulled them back into the realm of the living, things got a little bit interesting. They decided to slow things down. Look at this ult coming out. Interesting ult from CREA, just going for intel. Literally just going for intel. Cancels it after spawning only one player there. Makes the call to the team that they could be going somewhere else.
Yeah, they'll start that push in through the tree room. Little do they know, behind your orb, there's a whole slew of players trying to make in their way through A. CREA there, going to be the last point of contact. He's going to get easily taken care of by jbzz. Mixwell not even able to take one for the money, one for the road on the operator. All up to Fitinho now. Recon bolt, not sure it's going to be that helpful. Takes one, but still there are two more that remain. Can get this done, but the showstopper going to tell us that it's going to be too little, too late. jbzz sends one flying, and they are one away from map point.
davidp, yet again, hits 20. Now, this feels like, what is that, 3 maps in a row that we've seen davidp hit 20 total? Maybe even 4. davidp just consistently performing for Team Mixwell. But on the opposite end, got to give credit to jbzz. jbzz kind of coming in as maybe a dark horse in this map, stealing away that top performer performance, potentially grabbing one of those MVP points. It would be the first for jbzz. Zerator, they're down by 1 in the series, but they're up by 2 on the map. Mixwell taking down that top performer, jbzz, as jbzz went for a bit of a boost up with the satchel. It doesn't work out so well. So just like that, we see one fall early, and that's a difficult piece to lose this early in the round.
A little bit of intel gathering from Fitinho, sends the owl drone through the fish market and actually triggers a tripwire, which has to feel bad for the side of Team Zerator. They will now make their way through the courtyard, potentially going in through catwalk towards A, but does not look like that might be the case. But they're a little bit more spread out, trying to find their way through, setting up a couple of smokes to make things a little bit more easier for them to push through. But that will be the fake of utility, and A is still going to be the ticket for them. They love the site, seems to work out well for them. And on the site is davidp and CREA, ready to defend.
Look at this play from davidp. Look at this play from davidp. davidp on the flank, spots one. He's like, wait, how is this happening? They've actually made it onto A? I love it. davidp almost doesn't get the gun out in time. Switches to the Vandal as his target starts to turn back. A bit of a peculiar happenstance over on the A site. There's the wall going in that forces them into a position where you can spot their feed if you're up on top of the boxes. Mixwell pops the ult and tries to leap over the slow orb. It doesn't work out so well. Another slow orb coming in. Mixwell wants to just dive in, and there's the first one right to the face of Chiwawa. Rhyme chimes in with the Phantom, going to be backing off towards short. Tries to get around the corner, instead just gets ducked into that corner. And now it's down to a 1-on-2 with Rhyme on site playing this one so masterfully, disappearing, slipping in and out of reality. 12 rounds now on the board for Team Zerator. They are one away from forcing a third map that we honestly didn't expect to see based on that first map.
I can't wait to see this replay of the actual round unfolding. Of course, Mixwell gets that early kill onto jbzz. I was hoping to see some of that Reyna play because it was really Rhyme that made that round a possibility. As you called it, slipping in and out of reality. Unfortunately, not able to come out back on top for Team Mixwell. Orb, the last one standing, had to deal with too many angles, too much to work with. Now moving on to the next round. It is map point here for Team Zerator. The dream is very much so alive, and we have to remember, this is Team Mixwell's pick of map. And they're not doing so hot as they're up against the ropes.
Mixwell again, playing on the planners next to the Kench bench. davidp sees the ice broken on his wall, peeks out, sends some shots through the box. Does connect, so Zerator is very low on HP. Right now it is Team Mixwell with the man advantage. Rhyme is forced to watch the round play out. Boaster, the op right now back towards mid behind the stairs. I like this play over towards B. You're not really seeing it, but you're hearing it. That's Fitinho with the Ares spamming the wall into B. Again, we talked about this. Paper-thin walls in that B site towards B main. So that gun may be a bit awkward and uncomfortable, but it should have worked out better for Fitinho. I believe they did the Sage Wall boost up into the vent that sees over into the site, and Fitinho was not prepared for it. There's the camera coming out as well. Now Orb's position sold out, has to find a better angle. Trying to sneak over into the cubby, manages to get there just in time as Mixwell offers up some smoke support. Chiwawa with the res onto Rhyme, that's a big one as well. But Mixwell's popping off right now with the Phantom, that's 2 kills. Do they anticipate Orb around this corner? It looks like at least the spike's gonna get dropped, but now there's just too many players coming in from too many angles. It's a 1-on-2 over on the site. The support from the Omen not arriving in time, but the clock has expired. Team at Mixwell just waits it out long enough and hits double digits as well.
Still map point here for Team Zerator. We cannot forget that. If they have a good enough round, they can just close this out. But look at Mixwell, just frag after frag. They just funnel on in. And he bakes him a cake. 24 kills to his name. davidp not too far behind, 22, really competing for those MVP points. And even if Team Mixwell come out with a loss here, I can only imagine that their combat score is greater than anyone on the side of Team Zerator. So I have to see what's going to end up happening here. A couple of, you know, not the greatest of buys for the side of Team Zerator, and that's why jbzz is leading the charge. He's pretty much a sacrificial lamb. But they're looking towards B once again.
The tripwire giving away the position as they try to make their way in. Mixwell on the backside of site. Boaster has managed to sneak their way over towards the spawn. Mixwell still surviving back here in between the arches, buying time for the team to try and get into the defensive position. You've still got Orb up on top of the boxes. Mixwell somehow survives for now, and it actually works out well for Team Mixwell. 3 players survive. Chaos again on the B site. Team Zerator now have one more opportunity to close out this second map and force it into a third one before going into overtime.
Look at the money. Look at the credits. They don't have anything. At this point, you obviously force up because in that last and final overtime match, you know, the economy, of course, resets, giving everyone, I believe, 5,000 credits. But Team Zerator don't really have the weaponry to play, so they can't close this out, and it will likely go to overtime. But there's still the X factor of doing some damage, catching Team Mixwell by surprise. They're looking to do so with the setup on the A push.
By the way, just got confirmation. The third map, should we need it, will be split, and Zerator gets to choose their side. Ooh. So That is rough. So Zerator can actually close this one out. They'll get the start on the defending side on split. Somehow David P goes up on top of the wall. Was not anticipating that play coming in from Rhyme. Great paranoia to push CREA out of position. Mixwell doing everything he can from inside the site. Eventually falls. This round is going way better than you would anticipate for the likes of Zerator. CREA up on high. 1-2 for CREA. It's now down to 1. It's Zerator, team captain. 1v3 with just a sheriff in his possession. The spike dropped on site. First shot's right on the money, but that's it. We are going to overtime. 1 round, 5,000, just to see who's going to be making it out of the map victorious.
Oh boy, overtime here. Having a look at that replay, I just cannot believe it has gotten to this point. Both teams really showing how the offense can cook up. 12-12. It all comes down to this. Like you said, can Team Zerator take us to map number 3, or will Team Mixwell clean up shop, get the clean 2-0, and move on to be the team that gets the early advancement over towards the semifinals? We're about to find out. An operator on Boaster unfortunately has to buy the light armor. Doesn't likely have the utility either, considering that expensive buy. But that is something to note, because that can do some damage if used well.
Oh, David P. David P is feeling it right now. Wants to get aggressive. There's the paranoia lead in. I love the play, but no, it does not work out well. That means CREA is alone on the site. And if I were Team Zerator at this point, I would start backing off. Take that early advantage. Force a rotate out of your opposition. But they seem content to continue towards the site. There's still 2 players here. CREA, from inside the site, actually manages to pick off the operator player. The dink shot, not enough. CREA's still alive. But there's Jibs with the follow-up. Things working out at least a little bit here for Team Zerator as they try to get onto the site. Orb spots the spike. That's huge. Jibs goes down with the spike. What was going on there? So now the remaining 2 players, there's one at least coming in from the flank. Rhyme coming in through mid, flanking from spawn. But they lost spike control. That's massive.
Oh boy, here comes Rhyme. In and out of existence. Down to the 2v2. Fitinho around the corner, sees the jiggle peek. It's not going to be enough. Around the corner he goes, and it's Rhyme that's taken down. All up to Chiwawa. The underdog coming out of the doghouse up to the 1v1. Chiwawa versus Mixwell. The spike's been picked up. 25 seconds left on the clock. And it looks like Chiwawa might be headed over towards B, but looking up into heaven. Gets the headshot. Catches Mixwell with his pants down. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to map number 3.
I almost knocked over my fridge, freaking out about that play. I was watching it and I'm like, is the glass there? I don't remember. Did they shatter the glass? Because if not, this play could work out so well. I was thinking, okay, maybe he's going to run through spawn. Maybe we're going to see that full run through spawn back towards the A site, force the 1v1. It would have been Mixwell versus Chiwawa, who again was the all-star of the very first series of the day, a player we profiled as being potentially one of the best players in the tournament. A somewhat silent performance since then. But it doesn't matter. That round mattered more than anything. They now force a 3rd map. They force split, and Zerator gets to start on the defense. That is huge.
Oof. This is... I am just so excited how the repercussions are going to play out. If Team Zerator are able to come out on top, that sends a message to everyone else in the tournament. Yes, Team Draken had a little bit of fun with us, but we are able to come back swinging, and we won't give up that easily. Bach, what else can we say? What else can we say?
Yet again, big performance coming out from CREA. I mean, the numbers obviously show that, but multiple players on 20 kills. Obviously, that's to be expected, given that we did go full-length regulation, playing out 24 rounds and then obviously requiring that 25th to determine a winner. But Mixwell at the top, 27-16, so another star on his badge there for the MVP tally. David P just behind, 22-19, 20-19 for Chiwawa, who won that huge 1v1, 23-17 for Jibs, 22-21 for Rhyme, 20-15 for CREA. All of those players finishing over 20. CREA was really pivotal for Mixwell on the defense on that A site, constantly doing his best job. David P did start to taper off from that first half performance, but part of that was due to the super aggressive play we saw a couple times on A and on short.
Yes.
But man, what a map. What a series.
Yeah. I can't believe it, but there's still more to come. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to throw to a quick break. When we come back, it's going to be map number 3, Zerator versus Mixwell. Tune in to find out who comes out on top.
Hard to believe that we've even made it here. After what happened in the first map, we were ready to say that Team Zerator's first victory in this tournament was a fluke. But here we are. An impressive win on Ascent. Team Mixwell's pick that forces a third map after going into overtime. And not only that, it goes down to the 1v1. Of all things, of all ways for that game to end, that's how it ends. Absolutely ridiculous. An unreal game in general. I'm Bach. Joining me on the broadcast is Simo. This is G2's Valorant Invitational. We've been your casters all day long, and you guys will be hearing us again tomorrow as well. But we've still got one more map to play out. And here's the crazy thing. It's split, and Zerator gets side selection.
We'll see what they end up picking up. That is probably the most biggest thing. Yep, mind-blowing as well. We've seen in NA how split can actually be very attacker-friendly. So depending on what Zerator end up deciding to pick and how the European region plays split is going to be kind of the deciding factor in how we see these first early rounds pan out, how the half feels, and then what happens during the swap. Team Mixwell, I have a feeling I'm going to see a Viper. Viper has been known early on in the closed beta to be a very good pick on split. And now with some of the changes, we'll see if that's going to remain to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Mixwell himself play Viper, but usually that was on Bind. And even still, since that original Bind performance playing Viper, he's gone back to the Jet. Wasn't feeling it, didn't like the way it was working out. Obviously, as Viper, you have those long toxic screens, most specifically towards the A site. There are some as well towards B, but the A site one is the one that stands out the most as it allows you to cut off vision from both ramp and heaven towards the A site. And given the way that Sage has been changed, walling off heaven isn't as easy as it used to be, so that toxic screen could prove pivotal in taking an A site on the attacking side. I mean, I'm really interested to see. And again, I mentioned this earlier. I think it was during the Immortals event in NA where we actually saw two teams playing in, I think, the quarterfinals. I think Cloud9 was actually one of them. They played on split and neither team had a Sage. I don't think that's going to happen here, but it is an interesting thing to see because up until basically that change, the wall change, it was pretty much no questions about it. You were going to have a Sage in play. And that is, in fact, going to be the case here. Both teams favoring it. I'm glad to see it. But it was interesting because people are like, okay, well, maybe because of the wall change, people don't feel as comfortable with this on split. But even still, the casters and the audience were equally as confused. So I'm glad that that's not going to be a problem here.
Going to be Team Zerator opting in for defense first, and Team Mixwell going to be on attack to kick us off. Difference in agent selection will primarily be Sova, the Omen on one side, and the Reyna and the Raze on the other. See how those picks end up panning out. It is going to be Team Mixwell looking to poke their head through to B, but the spy cam going to spot a whole army in Boaster waiting to play the long combo. Maybe waited too long. Fitinho takes him down.
Congratulations, you played yourself. It's a 5-on-3. Fitinho tried to get patient, or actually Boaster, excuse me, tried to get patient, got bested by Fitinho. Mixwell is there with another follow-up, despite the fact that they get to start on the defense. The pistol round isn't looking so promising as it's down to just one now. Chiwawa, who brought us to this map with that overtime 1v1, now in a 1-on-5. There's at least some damage dealt, but they're just going to multi-peek, and that's going to make this impossible. Great take from Team Mixwell towards the B site. And if the map plays out like it has in the past, the pistol round and the round that follows are usually part of the few rounds you actually get on the attacking side.
See if that's going to end up being the case. Of course, playing a little bit more standard than what you and I are personally used to from NA. Team Zerator setting things up. One of the changes to split that makes it a little bit more, I guess I would say, friendlier to attackers is the pull back from the start. The barriers for the defense pulled back a little bit. Don't really have complete control of heaven quite exactly, and they have to push up a little bit more, peek in and see who's in mid. Of course, it is Team Mixwell looking to repeat the same thing once again. Barrier orb goes up. They've got control of the backside of B. Mixwell with the early frag. Spikes as good as down.
Mixwell again favoring the Jet. And you can see why. Wants to get aggressive, wants to take that battle straight to the face of Team Zerator, and it works out nicely. You've got Rhyme on the flank, but it's not exactly the greatest gun. Still might be able to best CREA, who's over here with just a Ghost. And pop, pop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. It's the shotgun coming out on top of the exchange. It's now down to 2 on the defending side, who are still trying to spill some more blood. Chiwawa will fall, though, in the Sage-on-Sage battle. And now the last one standing is Rhyme, who's over towards Ramen, and it's a 4-piece on the round for Mixwell.
Now we'll get to see, moving on to that third round, usually the full buy round for the team that is on the receiving end of a couple of losses in the early 2 rounds. And they'll unfortunately only have one Spectre, or sorry, that's on the opposite side. They do have an Operator now in play for Boaster. No armor whatsoever, so expect this to be the true definition of a glass cannon build. And now having a look at Mixwell, he's about to see if that pesky little Boaster is going to play a little bit more aggressively. Backs up to give a little bit more space. Now, will that shot be very, very important for them, for Boaster here? If he lands this, it open up the round, and yes, he does. Mixwell will fall, but they'll still funnel in onto the site.
The op in position, back in spawn. Boaster has a lot of faith, and there it is. The Cyber Cage and the Dark Cover down. Boaster feels comfortable that the push won't come through. The spike to be planted behind that box that is currently impenetrable after updates to the map came through. So it will be a post plant, 3 on 5, but it's Team Zerator trying to sneak in. Great peek from Orb, but somehow not able to beat out Chiwawa, who just kept on shooting a little bit quicker. David P now on the site. The last hope for Team Mixwell. Chiwawa coming through from spawn. Slow Orb goes down. David P tries to step into it, catching his opponent off guard. The flank was coming regardless. Even if he wins that battle, he's stuck in the ice with the Cypher on the back end of the play. Team Zerator pick up the first buy round. But again, it's not incredibly unexpected to lose that third round after winning the first 2.
Yeah, once the economy starts to stabilize it a little bit, or Team Mixwell get back into shape on a full buy, we are seeing that start to come through. So not necessarily the most optimal, of course. They are a little light on armor in certain areas, specifically on davidp and CREA, and likely don't really have the utility as well to follow up. But we'll see once they start gunning and running in this upcoming round. What are they going to do? A little bit more spread out this time around. Boaster playing a little bit more close with the op, looking into Robin to see who's on the opposite side. Has to escape. Thinks that things are a little bit more dangerous than they are. The Owl Drone scares him to death. Now he escapes back up to heaven.
Mixwell currently just sitting inside that dark cover, waiting for it to dissipate, and as soon as it does, Boaster delivers a shot from the op. Jet on Jet and Sage on Sage violence. That sees us at a 4 on 4, but look at Rhyme playing up in heaven, manages to pick off 2 players from Team Mixwell, and now it's on CREA and the Sage, David P. Somehow David P has managed to sneak into the A site, but you can see Boaster's ready for it. Boaster now watching the back end of the play, even though CREA does manage to send Rhyme flying away. It's down to now just CREA. And already being spotted by the Rays, the Satchel pushing jbzz out of position, so it'll force CREA towards heaven, and jbzz continues, even with the SMG, to take the fight. Tied up at 2 apiece, the money from Mixwell now should be pretty rough, so we should be seeing a save come in from the attacking side.
2 apiece. Team Mixwell, of course, have 2 on the board, but we'll see how that lead starts to potentially balloon for the side of Team Zerator. Looking like they're forcing up on the side of Team Mixwell. Don't really have the economy to save, but also don't really have the economy to buy. So forcing the issue means that the following round will definitely be a save for them. Side of Team Zerator, their economy is feeling good. They're looking good. You know, playing to their strengths now, set up in all different ways across the map. A little bit more aggressive towards mid, but it's Boaster. They're likely going to stop this push. The first shot misses, and the paranoia guarantees there will be no second attempt. They will easily take control of this backside, but the rest of Team Zerator now going to make their way onto the sites. Chiwawa and Boaster that find 2 early kills. It's Zerator that's looking to get into the party himself. A couple of sprays into the barrier orb, not going to take it down, but fitinho and CREA actually find 2 refrags, and now it's a 3v3 with the retake.
There's the camera and the follow-up as well, with Rhyme on the flank coming in through B main. Taken care of quite quickly by fitinho. The bomb buddy comes in. Zerator's going to peek out wide. It's on CREA, who's now in the 1v1 against the Cypher. CREA going around and spots out the Cypher, so now it's all about time. And CREA actually has the ult as well, so could potentially fake out his opponent with an ult, but it's just too questionable at this point in time. 2 close quarters to go for the gamble. It's a one-on-one fight that goes CREA's way, and Mixwell putting themselves back in the driver's seat, taking the lead back up 3-2.
Gotta feel good, you know. I still feel like with the new changes, Split, a little undecided on how it kind of feels. Can feel it defender-sided, have seen it feel attacker-sided. So far, it looks like Mixwell is having a good time, but I feel like it's still too early to tell, especially in this map that we are on right now. Only 5 rounds in. Going to have to see once we get to that 12th round, switch over to the second half, how things really start to shape up. But a little bit of mix of play here from Mixwell, looking towards A this time around. And CREA doesn't actually get spotted out, but Chiwawa waits for the full commit. Takes 1, takes 2. Mixwell will get the refrag, but at what cost? 2 bodies on the ground.
You will
And now
not
Team
kill my
Zerator will
ally.
look for the refrag. A 4v4.
Let go for a second. Cover going out.
The res coming out there to bring things to even strength. Smoke's coming out from the Omen. There is a Sage wall and a whole lot of utility being dumped towards TV.
Blocking sight.
Look at Mixwell just hiding inside this smoke right now.
Oh.
I like the play. We'll see if it works out. Mixwell tries to break their way into the site. Zerator follows up with a quick kill. davidp dropping Zerator after taking down Mixwell 2-on-3. And now just one. One left standing. It's fitinho in sight. Quick one tap onto Rhyme, but Boaster is just too strong with the op. Back and forth we go. And I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of this all game long, as Team Zerator found their confidence after the last map win, but it's been a tough battle early on here on Split.
And you know, the back and forth really hurts the economy, not only for the team that is losing, but for both teams. Because, you know, the round previous, it was Mixwell that won. And you could see now they are both struggling to put weapons together. They're both in a little bit of a difficult scenario. Of course, Team Zerator a little bit better off, but not everyone is able to have some weapons to play. We're seeing Zerator himself, the captain of the team, have to opt in for the Sheriff, switches over to the Bulldog. And on the opposite side, they're also forcing up. It's just difficult to predict where the economy is going to go. And you have to anticipate either you feel like you're going to win or you feel like you're going to lose. And neither team definitely wants to lose.
Zerator hiding inside this smoke. It looks like they're ready to just continue this play out. CREA tries to port into spawn. Boaster, excuse me, my goodness. Just waiting there, wondering what on earth is happening. It's come down to 2 on each side. The Jet has the ult, as does the Raze. The spike gonna get planted here, so jbzz and Boaster gonna try and play defense. Is Boaster prepared for this play coming in from davidp, who's moving in on the back line? davidp, as the Sage, potentially catching him off guard just as the ult gets popped. And now an opportunity, no pun intended, to upgrade to the sniper rifle. There's the ult coming out, but the rocket has yet to be fired. I like the move currently, just kind of giving them fear. The shot goes directly onto Orb, and you're going to see this potential stick. davidp with the operator has to move in. There's the shot that gives away the fact that he hasn't peeked out too far. Swaps back to the Stinger, and there it is! davidp, despite the choice of weaponry, manages to make it work. And again, back and forth, trading rounds with one another.
Let's have a quick look at that economy just to really tell us that story there. And now we're seeing Team Zerator at the receiving end of a difficult economic position. It's not horrible, but it's not phantoms and heavy armor. You know, that's optimally what you want. But on the opposite side, despite a win, you know, Team Mixwell isn't that much better off. Of course, they're able to, you know, buy some assault rifles, but they're probably missing out on some utility. They're probably missing out on the heavy armor that they wish they had. It's not looking too good for either team, and it's as back and forth as it is. The economy is so close together, and that's making a very competitive match.
Right now, it's a bit of an interesting battle. A lot of early damage dealt. The dart lands in sight. The Cypher ult as well. The Neural Theft coming out. Chiwawa's going to put a wall down to try and slow down the potential push coming that direction. davidp has snuck into heaven with the spike. Could be a problem if davidp died in that position. You've still got the Sage on site. As the spike goes in, you see Chiwawa go for the peek. Doesn't work out so well. Orb also in towards the vents. It looks like Team Mixwell going to chain a few together here and potentially break the financial back of their opponent. The shotgun brought into play by Boaster results in an upgrade of a Phantom. The money was not great coming into this one, and you could see that playing out with Boaster on the shorty.
But he's got a little bit of an upgrade up to the Phantom now, but may look to save the weaponry instead. The economy is not in great shape for either team, to be quite honest. But I think now that Mixwell have got, I feel like 2 rounds under their belt, they can at least confidently start to build up their economy a little bit better. For the side of Team Zerator, just trying to make ends meet. And they'll try to make ends meet in the upcoming round as well. 3 to 5, 4 rounds remaining in this first half, and the economy's just been back and forth with no clear leader. But now things are starting to look up. Sunshine is on the horizon as teams are starting to get the weapons, the utility, and the armor that they desire. Looks like Team Zerator on the full buy across the board. Boaster, unfortunately, not able to join his friends at school with the heavy armor Jordans. But now for the rest of Mixwell, they're unfortunately not in the greatest shape either. Still.
We'll see what happens. As it is Team Mixwell actually putting in an impressive first half already on the attack. 5 rounds may not seem like a lot, but on a one-sided map like Split, that's actually solid. Rhyme's going to go ahead and pop the ult as Reyna. And they're going to be going right towards him. And somehow, despite the ult, can't even do significant damage to either target. Mixwell dives at his target with the knives out. Jibs just was not ready for it. Mixwell continuing that progress towards spawn, realizing after the ding shot, probably not worth it to continue on. Throws down a smoke, the cloudburst landing, and you can see Boaster wants none of this. Heading back towards the B site, trying to save.
This is not a round that you want to lose if you're Team Zerator. I mean, you pick the first side. Maybe it really does kind of aid to the fact that you either pick the side that you're most comfortable on to start, or you pick the side that you desire in the second half. Logically, I feel like it makes more sense to pick the side that you want in the second half, because that is the half where you can close out or play the more favorable side, right? And with that being said, that means Team Zerator want to attack to close things out, and they'll feel a little bit more comfortable there. But so far, Mixwell, they're doing a great job winning round after round, and this is going to be round number 6 for them.
Shots coming out there from Chiwawa at the end guarantee his life, but the rounds starting to pile up now for Team Mixwell. Let's take a look at the replay as well. Mixwell flies in point blank, and a multitude of knives just land directly on Jibs. So Jibs couldn't do much about that. Jibs, again, great performance on the last map. Here, struggling. 2-7 currently from Jibs, 2-7 from Zerator. Boaster back to the position of top performer alongside Chiwawa, 9-6 and 9-7. Mixwell hasn't skipped a beat. 10 kills coming in from Mixwell as we move into the 10th round.
Couple of rounds remaining in Team Zerator. Ideally for them, they obviously want to put a couple more rounds on the docket, but Team Mixwell looking to make that a very difficult possibility. Already Mixwell himself has found himself in a very advantageous position. They're going to start to funnel on in. Fortunately for Chiwawa, cannot find himself on the sweet end of that trade, and Mixwell just continue that domination. Taking some fall damage, not really sure why he didn't press the spacebar to alleviate some of that damage. And around the corner he goes, finds another one for his troubles. The op shot not going to connect from Boaster. And now the smooth moves from both Jets, and it's Mixwell. The superior Jet finds himself with 4 beautiful kills, and it's all down to Rhyme now from Team Zerator.
Mixwell has 3 bullets in the Phantom as well. Hasn't reloaded. Wants to continue. I think he wants the 1 mag ace. So Mixwell playing hyper aggressive, dive bombing. Finally goes for a fresh magazine. Gonna drop the cloudburst. Knows his opponent is right around the corner. It's the Reyna back in spawn. Mixwell looking for it. Wants to find the ace oh so badly. The second cloudburst going down. There's a third as well for Mixwell. There's one right around the corner. Will he get it? Yes, Mixwell's found himself the ace after impressive work. Somehow manages to just walk right up mid. The only mid player they had was the Sage, who was playing inside heaven. There was no ropes player that round, or vents, whatever you want to call it, for the defense. And as a result, Mixwell kind of just walks right up mid, kills the heaven player. The player in B site is dodging the Hunter's Fury. Easy kill. Runs into spawn and just continues just shredding apart the defense.
Yeah, having a quick look at the replay. After an aggressive push in through heaven, Jibs, for some reason, not looking into that back alley, and Boaster losing the duel between the deciding who's the superior jet. Mixwell so far has that stamped right on his accomplishments, and now looking towards A. For some reason, Team Zerator giving up complete control, and again, it's just Mixwell trying to push in aggressively. Rhyme says, good night, sleep tight. That Phantom is mine. They'll get that spike down, but it's a 4v5 in weapons favor Mixwell.
Absolutely dirty shot coming out from the Sheriff there of Rhyme. In the meantime, though, the attacking side of Mixwell has actually been reduced down to just 3. You've got David P right around the corner, and you can hear that heal, so Jibs knows exactly where he's at based on some of the previous action that's already happened. It's all up to Fitinho inside the site. Whiffs on the off shot. Great ult coming out there from Jibs. A strong round coming in from Jibs as well. That's the 3rd on the round. A 4th there for Team Zerator. Currently staring down, at best, a 7-5, with the 5 being for the defense. Not exactly great. And an 8-4 is also likely, as Mixwell should have more than enough money.
Not only do they have the credits to back them up here, they've got the ultimates. But having a quick look at Team Zerator's economy, the double op looking to do some damage, very likely going to split that between A and B, or at least B and mid, or mid and A. Gonna be interesting to see how they play this one out. Looking like an already aggressive push, going to be trying to have control of Garage. And look, this is about to be where things meet here. Ryan finds one onto Fitinho. The res as well puts him back up into the mix. 3 ults remain, but they have a res as well on Team Zerator, and already Boaster negates that res and takes out David P.
Chiwawa trying to be strong on the defense, and there it is. Chiwawa finally waking up a bit again here. A bit of a slow start on Split.
I have retrieved the spike.
Started to pick up the performance. Was towards the top there with Boaster. But they've had a hard time matching up against Team Mixwell. It's now Orb in a 1-on-5. The best round we've seen from Team Zerator all game. Unfortunately, they waited to the last round of the first half to bring it into the fold. We won't talk about it.
Yeah. Orb, though, finds himself a kill, all down to one final player here. It is Orb, and Jibs will take him down. Gives him a little bit of that English breakfast, moves on with his day. Halftime score is 7-5, Mixwell up 2, but considering we've theorized that Split can start to feel a little bit more attacker-friendly than we originally let on, we'll see if Zerator are able to unlock that potential, or if Team Mixwell will continue to have their momentum swing back into their favor and keep the defender-sided Split dream alive. Pistol round gonna start us off.
I know a lot of people will say, oh, that was a little BM and toxic. I think he was trying to give him CPR.
With what? CPR with what, Bach?
Well, I mean, he's holding a gun, so his hands are occupied. It's looking like we are going to see a B push here from Team Zerator on the attack. Not surprised. That's exactly where Team Mixwell went in the pistol round, and it worked out quite nicely. There's the initial push in. The wall comes down. The dash coming out. The updraft possible as well, but here's the push into the site, and it will be David P, the first to take one down. But look at that. Just like that, Chiwawa, Rhyme, and Jibs all chime in with one of their own. They've brought it down to Mixwell and CREA, who both have to try and rotate in. The spike has not been planted, so they have a little bit of time to work with. Paranoia goes out. Or the dark cover, excuse me. CREA now moving in, and that is about as strong a pistol round as you're going to see coming in from Team Zerator.
See how the rounds continue to stack up. Of course, for them, this will be likely the force up with the Spectres and the armor across the board. For some reason, Boaster just had a knife. Wait, did he? That is the... Wait. What? I didn't know that... That's weird. I've never seen that before. For some reason, the knife showing up on the scoreboard. That is very interesting. For Team Mixwell, however, something that we are not really going to expect Team Zerator to feel out is it's the force up for Team Mixwell as well. They're looking to do some damage and try to answer back with some upgraded weaponry of their own.
There's the peek from David P, despite being blind by the Leer. Goes for a second swing, wants to find some follow-up. Mixwell with the shotgun, the Bucky. CREA in sight with the sniper rifle as well. It's all down to one. It's Chiwawa. How quickly this push got crushed. Even though Team Mixwell came in with just bizarre weaponry, it works out oh so well. The Marshall, the shotgun, the SMGs, everything going their way. So much for the comeback as Team Zerator wins the pistol and follows it up with an immediate round loss.
You know, the force up on the second round, especially once you've lost the pistol, feels like the Spanish Inquisition. Nobody ever expects the Spanish Inquisition, and that time Mixwell are able to make it work, show us how it's done. Now they lead in economy. Unfortunately, sheriffs for the side of Team Zerator and for the side of Mixwell. I even saw a couple of phantoms, so they're definitely looking good.
It will be just pistols for Team Zerator. So it's back to the B site, it seems. They've got the Jet playing intel over on A. There's the camera spotting the first one. They haven't really shown too much. They're starting to move in close. I actually really like this wall. It's a little weird, but it does result in David P's death, so maybe not as cool as I thought it could have been. The wall is down, which should prevent easy access to the site. They have to blow it apart, and they do. But in the meantime, they've managed to at least pick off one. The Reyna has snuck into the backside of sight, but look at this. I love the play. They've actually pulled the spike out. So even though Rhyme is here playing Reyna and doing great work, Jet has made it onto the A site. They're realizing, hey, something's not right here. There's no spike. They're not pushing. So they've already started to pull players out, especially after that kill comes through onto Rhyme. Boaster now able to get up into heaven with a Vandal, no less. And the A site now going to be a retake territory for Team Mixwell.
Oh, but Mixwell finds himself on the opposite end of a couple of Vandal bullets, up to no good. Boaster finds 3 for the round. And funny enough, they answered back quite handily. You think going into that round, okay, a couple of sheriffs, they're not really going to do a whole lot of damage. But moving into the second half, little did we know it was going to be back and forth. How could we have predicted this, Bach? How could we?
I mean, based on what we saw early, I would have thought Mixwell was just going to do what they did in the first map. I was not looking so good for Zerator. That back and forth battle was not going to favor them. And then even at the end of the half, I was like, okay, this is still not good. I thought coming into this map that Team Zerator would have a strong first half, given that it is defense side split, but it just didn't pan out that way. But at least they're keeping it competitive. I say that as they lose the Reyna in mid, stepping into that slow orb, and fitinho just making quick work of them. So it is a 5-on-4. Team Mixwell have the man advantage.
Chiwawa making his way up through mid. Oh, baby! Gets the headshots. David P goes soaring through the sky, ends up soaring straight to the spectate screen. Now the rest of Team Zerator trying to push through. It's fitinho, who is the gatekeeper, takes one down. One more going to try to push through. But is the jiggle peak worth it? The Blaze Storm's going to come out early, and unfortunately for Boaster, does not come out with a slice or a dice. Ends up with a couple of bullets from fitinho. Now down to the 2v4. Let's see how Team Zerator push in towards B.
Orb on the Stinger, not able to stop jibzz making their way into the site. fitinho has now found a 4th on the round. Could we possibly have another ace in the round? jibzz trying to prevent that from being a reality. Retreats with the gun, realizing that the round's lost. They lost Spike in heaven. 12 seconds left. There's no way. No aggression coming out, though, from fitinho, not wanting to force that ace if possible. So Team Mixwell will find another round. And again, we go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's just rounds ping-ponging back and forth like we saw in that first half.
Having a quick look at that replay from Chiwawa. Ooh, you just love to see that type of play. Keeping eyes up. Crosshair right exactly where it needs to be. Now looking at Team Zerator. Not the most ideal buy, but at least an operator can make things a little bit more interesting. Some of the weaponry, of course, going to be the Phantoms as well, but not everyone has the guns to play, unfortunately. Mixwell going to be playing very aggressively here at the start of the round, and on the opposite end is going to be another operator. Little do they know, they meet each other in the crosshairs, and Boaster comes out on top.
You fought well.
David P getting aggressive in mid. You have to get so close to put that wall up. You can see it. David P pushes up far, drops the wall, and then rotates out over towards the A site. That's the right call, as everyone is grouping up there currently. Timing is everything. How long will that orb last? That dark cover. Do they push past as well? Yes, they do. They start to push past. You can see Chiwawa was up top as well, peeking out over top of that. So it will be a volley of shots that at least favored the defense initially and continues to go that direction. Mixwell popping the ult. The knives come out and slices one of his opponents to pieces. Chiwawa now gunned down through the wall, and it falls onto Jibz. Jibz has dropped inside ropes, has an opportunity for the flank play with 35 seconds left, and so many bodies surrounding that spike. It's just seeming heavily unlikely.
Still going to try to make the hero play or make a dent in the economy at the very bare minimum. You got to try. You know, there's a lot on the line here for Team Zerator. They can really make things more difficult for Team Mixwell to secure that semi-finalist spot. Of course, it is now a 3-round lead for the side of Team Mixwell. Double op and play as well in the eco for Zerator, so they're getting dangerously close to depleting that round buffer resource that they had. Potentially a 7-11 scoreline after this, and after that they are playing for very small wins here. Let's see how they end up panning out. We've seen a Sheriff do some damage before. Can they make it happen once again?
Mixwell, they've now got double-digit rounds, and Mixwell himself on the op backs off of the ropes after they take control of mid. There's one spotted in towards heaven, sitting towards the post. The Leer coming out to prevent an additional peek coming out from the defensive side of Team Mixwell. Everyone is in mid right now for the attacking side. All 5 players, and it looks like they might be challenging Mixwell's op. If they go up both sides of the rope, there is an opportunity. There's the updraft. They're making noise right now in the ropes, as you heard one tap on it. And I think it's just a bit of a fake. They're going to try and go back towards heaven, where they're going to have to contend with David P. and also Fitinho, who's in this position.
Oh, the collateral! David P. One more around the corner, has to drop down, but it's already potentially too little too late here for Team Zerator. Of course, they tried to make it work with the Sheriffs, but when David P. has the operator, you definitely listen. Still 2 more members up in heaven. They need to try to peek through. David P. with a third. Last member standing, drops down below. David P. trying to keep it a little more interesting, but the hop, skip, and jump not going to connect for him. As Chiwawa will take him down, but Mixwell avenges his fallen comrade quite easily. Full buy here now for Team Zerator, trying to keep their dreams alive. Again, Boaster on the op. He's taken down Mixwell plenty of times before with it, and he's poised around that same area, but walk us through this replay. Holy smokes.
I mean, just holding that angle, they go for the double peek. And then in the 1v1, you have Chiwawa with movement so smooth, it's like the cheese named after him. Fun fact, there is a cheese named Chiwawa, and no, it is not made out of the dog. In actuality, I looked it up, because I remember I've had it before. It's fantastic. The Wikipedia page says, not to be confused with cheese dog, because it's called Queso Chihuahua, so it's like
There
cheese
they are.
dog.
Oh.
Yeah, interesting.
Take flight.
Fitinho, up in heaven, sends out the drone. Knows there's one hiding in this little corner. Wants to just put a dart into somebody. Chooses it to be the Rays instead. There's the ult coming out. Oh, that's brutal. The wall goes up at the perfect time, but the ult not able to connect. Not sure what happened there, but it seemed like it should have been almost easy pickings. But look at Mixwell. Mixwell's on the flank coming through from sewers. They're not going to anticipate this. Mixwell does fan the first shot. A second shot also not on the money. Mixwell more like Whipswell in the round, as it's down to a 2-on-4, make it a 1-on-4 as Mixwell finally connects. The res is going to come in under Rhyme. So again, it's back to a 2-on-4. Now down to just 1. The Sage, Chiwawa, all by himself. Not much can be done. 12 rounds in the purse for Mixwell. They need 1 more to close things out.
Oh. Backs against the wall. Team Zerator. Look at their economy. They're going to have to force up here. There's no way that you let Team Mixwell come out on top. And even if they win this round, Team Mixwell, they've got economy for days. Mixwell himself, 7,800 to his name. Next closest is CREA at 59. Just what can you do at this point? Zerator opting in for the Sheriff, has the heavy armor. It is not looking good for Team Zerator, but we've seen them do more with less, and it's Mixwell finding the early frag, but Boaster will quickly trade it back. A crucial member down might open things up here for Zerator.
The wall comes out from davidp, trying to watch the ropes to make sure that they don't decide to push their way back towards B. The spike was all the way on B. It has to run all the way back. So you can see that Sage shuffling on over to the A site. You've still got the Omen to deal with, who's inside the A site. So Boaster's going to fall to CREA. davidp coming up the ropes now has to worry about potentially anyone that could be up in heaven.
Oh.
But it's actually Rhyme who's coming through from the other side. So Rhyme inside the ropes, now joining his team as, again, they are trying to push onto this A site.
Orb. Here's a couple of those footsteps up in heaven. They know that something's amuck. Orb going to try to get the rotate through, or sees one around the corner, and it's going to be the cross from CREA that takes him down with the spike up in the middle of no man's land. They've got to make sure that they execute this properly. Rhyme going to drop down. fitinho already taking down jbzz. All up to Rhyme. Takes out CREA. Repositions with the use of his utility there. Now still looking for that last final member. The recon bolt denied early, but they know he's down below the rafters. All in his lonesome. 12 seconds left on the clock. Has to plant the spike now or never. Shock Dart going to take him down to 20. No Devour available. Around the corners. Orb up to the 1v1. Has to land the spike now or never. But it's fitinho. Makes things simple. The 3-0 victory for Team Mixwell.